So very good afternoon everyone. I am Dr. Satyabrata, MDDM clinical pharmacologist, and today I am going to discuss on ethics committee, registration and accreditation. So coming to institutional ethics committee, the cardinal principle of research involving human participants is respect for the dignity of persons. All biomedical research require the ethical and scientific review including informed consent. Institutional Ethics Committee is an independent body constituted of medical and non-medical, scientific and non-scientific members whose primary responsibility is to ensure the protection of the rights, safety and well-being of human subjects involved in the trial, then other things like reviewing, approving and providing continuing review of trial protocol and amendments. Coming to registration of EC, Ethics Committee. Ethics Committee means for the purpose of clinical trial. Ethics Committee constituted under Rule 7 and registered under Rule 8. But for registration of Ethics Committee for biomedical and health research, Ethics Committee constituted under Rule 16 and registered under Rule 17. Then Ethics Committee for clinical trial, bioavailability and bioequivalence study. Regulations for submission. Every ethics committee constituted under Rule 7 shall make an application for grant of registration to the Central Licensing Authority. The ethics committee shall furnish such information and documents as specified in Table 1 of the third schedule along with the application made in Form CT01. The application must be submitted with indexing and page number, text and tables, and document to be printed clearly without losing any information. All items mentioned in the checklist may not be applicable, marked with NA, not applicable. Registration of EC, role of Central Licensing Authority. CLA, Central Licensing Authority shall scrutinize the information and documents furnished with the application under Sub-Rule 2 and make such further inquiry, if any, considered necessary. After being satisfied that the requirements have been complied with, may grant registration to Ethics Committee in Form CT02, and if not satisfied with the compliance of these rules by the applicant EC Ethics Committee, it may reject the application for reasons to be recorded in writing within a period of 45 working days from the date of the receipt of the application. Then registration of EC Ethics Committee, role of applicant Ethics Committee. An applicant ethics committee aggrieved by the decision of rejection of the application by the CLA Central Licensing Authority under Clause 2I of Sub-Rule 3 may file an appeal before the central government in the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare within 60 working days from the date of receipt of order of such rejection. Then registration of EC Ethics Committee, role of central government. The central government may, after such inquiry as considered necessary and after giving an opportunity of being heard to the appellant referred to in Sub-Rule 4, shall dispose of the appeal filed under that sub-rule within a period of 60 working days from the date on which the appeal has been filed. Then validity period. The registration granted in Form CT02 shall remain valid for a period of 5 years from the date of its issue, unless suspended or cancelled by the Central Licensing Authority. Then the renewal of registration, role of applicant Ethics Committee. On expiry of the validity period of registration granted under Rule 9, an Ethics Committee may make an application for renewal of registration in Form CT01 along with documents as specified in Table 1 of the third schedule 90 days prior to the date of the expiry of the registration. Application for renewal of registration is received by the Central Licensing Authority 90 days prior to the date of expiry. The registration shall continue to be in force deemed continued until an order is passed on such application. Fresh set of documents are required only if changes exist. Then renewal of registration, role of Central Licensing Authority. CLA Central Licensing Authority shall, after scrutiny of information, inspecting reports, if any, and after such further inquiry as considered necessary and on being satisfied that the requirements of these rules have been complied with, renew the registration of ethics committee in form CT02. Not been complied with, reject the application for reasons to be recorded in writing within a period of 40 working days from the date of renewal application made under Sub-Rule 1. CDSU, Central Drug Standard Control Organization, is also encouraging the online applications for registration and re-registration of ethics committees through SUGAM, an e-governance solution for CDSU, Central Drug Standard Control Organization. Then cancellation of registration, role of Central Licensing Authority. When the Central Licensing Authority is of the opinion that EC Ethics Committee fails to comply with any rules, it may issue so-cause notice to EC Ethics Committee. The CLA, Central Licensing Authority, will give an opportunity of being heard in person to EC Ethics Committee. After considering the facts and reply, the CLA, Central Licensing Authority, may furnish following decisions: withdraw so-cause notice issued, issue warning to the EC Ethics Committee describing the deficiency or defect observed, reject the results of clinical trial or viability and bioequivalence study, suspend for such period as considered appropriate, or cancel the registration, debar its members to oversee any clinical trial in future. Then cancellation of registration, role of applicant ethics committee. Where the ethics committee or any member of the ethics committee is aggrieved by an order of the CLA, Central Licensing Authority, under Sub-Rule 3, such aggrieved ethics committee or member may, within a period of 60 working days of the receipt of the order, file an appeal to the central government. Then cancellation of registration, role of central government. Where an appeal has been filed under Sub-Rule 4, the central government may, after such inquiry as it thinks necessary and after giving an opportunity of being heard, pass such order as it thinks appropriate within a period of 60 working days from the date of filing of the appeal. Then coming to Ethics Committee for Biomedical and Health Research. Registration of EC, Ethics Committee. Ethics Committee shall be required to register with the authority designated by the central government in the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Department of Health Research. After application, the designated authority will grant provisional registration which shall remain valid for a period of 2 years. After the grant of provisional registration, the authority designated shall scrutinize the documents and information furnished with the application and, if satisfied, will grant final registration to Ethics Committee. Then if any applicant is aggrieved by the decision of the authority, he/she may file an appeal within 60 working days before the central government in the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, and the government, after inquiry, may pass verdict within next 60 working days. The registration granted shall remain up to period of 5 years unless cancelled or suspended by the authority. For renewal, EC Ethics Committee shall apply 90 days prior to expiry. Fresh set of documents are required only if changes exist. The authority will scrutinize the documents and pass the decision within 45 working days. Then cancellation of registration. Subject to provisions of Rule 17, when the designated authority is of the opinion that EC Ethics Committee fails to comply with any rules, it may issue so-cause notice to such EC Ethics Committee. After considering the facts and reply, the CLA, Central Licensing Authority, may furnish following decisions: issue warning to the EC Ethics Committee describing the deficiency or defect observed which may adversely affect the rights or well-being of the study subjects, suspend for such period as considered appropriate, or cancel the registration under Rule 17, debar its members to oversee any clinical trial in future for such period as may be considered appropriate. Then coming to status of registration of EC Ethics Committee in India. As on August 1, 2016, there were 1083 registered EC Ethics Committees, of which 841, 77.7%, were institutional, and 242, 22.3%, were independent. Maharashtra has the highest number of EC Ethics Committees registered, 259 per 1083, 23.9%, followed by Gujarat, 125 per 1083, 11.5%, and Karnataka and Tamil Nadu, 112 by 841, 10.3%. The least number of registered EC Ethics Committees is in Himachal Pradesh, and is equal to 2, and Jharkhand, Sikkim, and Jammu and Kashmir. Some states and union territories do not have a single EC Ethics Committee, namely Arunachal Pradesh, Manipur, Meghalaya, Tripura, Andaman and Nicobar, Dadra and Nagar Haveli, Daman and Lakshadweep. Then authorities for accreditation. Recognition of certification of accreditation from recognized national or international bodies such as Strategic Initiative for Developing Capacity in Ethical Review, SIDCER. Association for the Accreditation of Human Resource Protection Programs, AAHRPP. CDSU, Central Drug Standard Control Organization. Quality Council of India through National Accreditation Board for Hospitals and Healthcare Providers, NABH or any other. Such certification / accreditation should be kept updated on a continuing basis. Then current status of accreditation by NABH in India. NABH is an institutional member of the International Society for Quality in Healthcare, ISQA. ISQA is an international body which grants approval to accreditation bodies in the area of healthcare as mark of equivalence of accreditation program of member countries. The Ministry of Health and Family Welfare India has granted approval to making the accreditation of ethics committees. It is involved in supervision of clinical trials mandatory with effect from 01 January 18. So far hospital standards of only 11 countries which Australia, Canada, Egypt, Hong Kong, Ireland, Japan, Jordan, Kyrgyz Republic, South Africa, Taiwan, United Kingdom were accredited by ISQA. India becomes the 12th country to join in this group. Then standards for accreditation of EC Ethics Committee, NABH. Administrative support. The Ethics Committee follows documented procedures / terms of reference to ensure that administrative support for its activities is adequate. Review process. The Ethics Committee follows documented procedures for initial review of the trial-related documents, review of amendments, and periodic reviews. Decision-making and post-meeting activities. The Ethics Committee follows documented procedures for decision-making process and post-meeting activities. Record-keeping and archival. The Ethics Committee follows documented procedures for record-keeping and archiving. Then authority for formation of Ethics Committee. There shall be documented procedures to establish the authority for formation of Ethics Committee as per applicable rules and regulations. Standard operating procedure SOPs. The Ethics Committee has and follows written SOPs, standard operating procedures for its different functions as per applicable rules and regulations. Ethics Committee composition. The Ethics Committee meets the requirement for membership as per applicable rules and regulations. Procedures are documented and followed. Protection of subject rights, safety and well-being. The Ethics Committee follows documented procedures for subject protection. Then accreditation assessment. The assessment team will check the implementation of NABH standards by the EC Ethics Committee. NABH Secretariat, on intimation from the EC Ethics Committee about the preparedness to take of assessment, appoints an assessment team comprising principal assessor and assessor from the pool of empaneled assessors. Following documents are provided to the assessment team for carrying out the assessment: copy of application form, copy of self-assessment toolkit submitted, applicable documents, manuals, SOPs, standard operating procedure, protocol, assessment of guidelines and forms, confidentiality form. Then this is about Ethics Committee. Ethics Committee applies to NABH in prescribed application form along with self-assessment toolkit, relevant documents and application fees. Within 10 days of receipt of application form is screened at NABH Secretariat and an acknowledgement letter is issued to the Ethics Committee along with the unique reference number. Within 30 days of receipt of application, self-assessment toolkit and other documents submitted by the applicant are reviewed and the feedback is shared with the Ethics Committee. Within 60 days of receipt application, on-site assessment is planned upon receiving correct documents if any and payment of accreditation fee. On-site assessment conducted, copy of the report provided to the Ethics Committee. Within 3 months of on-site application, submission of corrective actions if any by the Ethics Committee. Process of NABH accreditation. Accreditation Committee, new Ethics Committee, Registered Ethics Committee. Registered Ethics Committee accreditation recommended and or denied approval by the board. Accreditation cycle 3 years. new ethics committee. NABH would grant provisional accreditation in situations wherein ethics committee has not initiated reviewing, monitoring, and approving trials but qualify for accreditation based on documentation and on-site assessment by NABH assessment team. Such accreditation, if granted, will be valid for a maximum of 12 months, and ethics committees must initiate trial approval process after taking prior permission from the compliant authority within this period, failing which accreditation will be withdrawn and ethics committee shall have to apply afresh. During the provisional accreditation, ethics committee shall keep NABH informed on contracting with a sponsor, approving and monitoring fast trial, including sites and investigators, so NABH can accordingly arrange a visit to ethics committee for verification of implementation of standards at an appropriate time. Based on the assessment report, the accreditation committee may either recommend for continuation of accreditation or withdrawal of provisional accreditation. After accreditation, surveillance on-site assessment between 15 to 18 months from the date of the accreditation, second year fee payment, submission of the closure of the non-conformities by the accredited entity, review of the closures by NABH Secretariat and the assessment team, review of the assessment report and closures by the accreditation committee, and recommendation of continuation of accreditation or adverse decision, submission of third year annual accreditation fees. Accredited entity applies to NABH Secretariat 6 months before expiry of accreditation for renewal along with the renewal application fee and relevant documents. Further process remains same as for new application except generating reference number. So this about ethics committee registration and all these things, and you can go through different articles and different new drug clinical trial rules 2019 that was amended in 2022 to know more and more about this topic. And you can also go through, this is for India, but you can go through also international guidelines also, rules and regulations. So thank you very much for watching my videos and subscribing my channel, and please like and subscribe and share these videos. You can learn a lot of things from these videos, and thank you again. That's all for today. Jai Jagannath.